At the Connex, the General Washington. I'm going to tell you what, Mark, that tried to get me to send orders on the mail. Hello, Walter, you got it coming. There's that board. Yeah, it's board now. I'm making the trip up there to you, now it's clear? Oh, yeah, not a problem.
You're making it to South Carolina, too.
You said you're making it to South Carolina, too. Let me stop by and let you say hello to South Carolina, then.
Yeah, I got you about 1 to 2 here. I got a bunch of scratch, unfortunately, coming off Channel 6. Some guy down there's got me way past the 30, and he's bleeding over all the way up here. But when that's not coming in there, I can hear you all the way down here around Charleston. This is Night Ranger.
All right, Night Rider. Night Ranger, right?
Yeah, it's Night Ranger. And I've got a video gate going right now. I've got the HD camera pointed at this. So if I get enough video, you guys coming in, I'll post it on YouTube. And I'll post a link over on Grumpy CV board if we get good conditions. It's up and down, but times you guys are putting me at S9 when the conditions are in our favor.
Night Ranger, if you do post that on YouTube, how will we find it? What category would you put it under? Something real simple that we can remember?
Well, you could just search on Channel 13, or if you ever go to Grumpy CV board, I usually post them under the Classic Radio Roundup section. You know, there'll be a video, skip between South Carolina, Pennsylvania. If just go on Grumpy CV board under Classic Radio section, where Spitfire and Sandbagger and all them are. I'll post the link right there. Yeah, just like it'll be a post from Night Ranger. It'll just say, skip from South Carolina to Pennsylvania or something like that, and it'll have today's date on it.
Roger. I appreciate it. All right, Operator Ron, you better get some in case you want to go on that little link there, 10-4. Yeah, Roger on that. Yeah, I switched over to my 718 on the dipole. You got a copy on this there 718 there, Night Ranger?
Yeah, you're S7 to S8. You're coming in good.
Not bad. Dipole 30 off the ground up in the pine tree. Got that vertical.
Well, dipoles work great. I'm on a Lazy H here, which is kind of like 4 dipoles, all fed in phase at the same time. But the dipoles work great. I've used plenty of those. And if you make them rotatable, they're great for cutting out interference. I've had people sometimes a few miles away that were 30 over on me and bleeding over on me, and I'd get that horizontal dipole, and I have like some PVC spreader arms, and I'd turn it around and put them off the side of them and take them down to S9, and they wouldn't bother me anymore.
There you go. Just took the other half the side of the beam off, took it and made it straight up and down, and it's 30 foot at the feed point, and it seems to be working out fairly well. Related to them.
That's doing good. You peaked at S9 that time. I don't know how much you're putting into it, but S9 off a wire is never anything to sneeze at.
Yeah, that's right. You can't beat it, man. I don't know what I'm doing with it. I got a 1.2 match right now off of it. So you can't beat that.
Now, are you just suspending that between 2 tree limbs or 2 supports? Is that what you're doing?
Well, it was the front half of the beam, so all I did was split the coax, and I have one aluminum one way and another aluminum the other way, and it's one half of the beam. The pipe about 30 foot up there, and just let it dangle, straight up and down. That's it.
Oh yeah, well that'll work fine. I started out with dipole. That was probably the first antenna I ever built. And then later, if you got the room you can build an antenna kind of extended double ZEP out of wire. It looks like a dipole, but it's longer. And you do have to have a matching section. You can look that up on the internet, but it's got twice the gain of a dipole. It's got like 3 dB gain over a dipole. And that works pretty good. I've talked to Pennsylvania, to the guys up there with that. That was my first antenna to talk to Sandbagger and Spitfire. And then I went to the Lazy H, which is a more antenna. This is a more advanced antenna. It's got about 6 dB gain, but you got to have ladder line and 4-to-1 balance and a tuner. The price and complexity goes up. But still, the dipole, that's hard to beat. I've talked all across North America with one of those, and they always work good.
I was getting really bad false readings, you know, and I figured, you know, let me switch it off here, and then the back side of the beam, I'm going to use that line, the back aluminum part of it, and I'm going to make that a flat side dipole and just face it one way, you know. Breaker 1-3.
We got a break in here. I don't know if it's local or not. You want to pick him up?
Hey, breaker.
Yeah, go ahead. Who's the break out there?
You got a nice street down here. Yeah, where are you, Bobby? Out there? That Spitfire got you there. That crew or not. Here up in 454 Rhode Island. Mercedes.
It's all right. I got two of you in there. I heard one of them you mentioned up next to Spitfire, but I've got two signals. Sorry, I didn't catch what your handle was. Yeah.
I just wanted to get on here so I could hear modulation tram. This is the one that replaced all the resistors. Kind of went over it pretty thoroughly and put one of those upgraded channel selectors inside of it. And yesterday we were blessed to find the loose soldering joint that was plaguing me for over a year. So I'm interested in knowing how it sounds. That's the only reason why I keyed up.
Yeah, it sounds real good. Like I said, I got the video going. This is the radio I'm on right now. Is just a little 23 channel Midland, a little mobile on a power supply with it, just using the internal speaker. It doesn't have much bottom end, so when you hear the video, you know this radio doesn't have much bottom end no matter what you put into it. But it sounds real good. It's real clear.
Alright, yes, I won't be able to hear my bass. That's what I was somewhat interested in. Knowing what kind of bass I have, but if it's coming out of that little speaker, chances are it's going to kind of cut it.
Yeah, well, this radio has never been very bassy. It's a good little radio. It's a 13-853, but it's not a bassy radio to begin with. So if you throw out a lot of bass on it, this radio is going to shave it off. I modified this one just a little bit too. I've always liked this radio. This was my first. This model is the first 23 channel I ever had, and the selectivity's on it pretty good. But I was you know always tinkering. I put a crystal filter in here. It already had a ceramic filter. Now I got crystal and ceramic filters, trying to cut down the co-channeling because I do like to use this one when I'm talking up there for classic radio. And channel 11, as you probably know, bleeds over a lot. So I'm beefing the selectivity up on this radio so I can hear 13 without all that bleed over from 11.
You actually replaced the filter itself, put it in the same salon, or just how'd you do that?
No, the first IF frequency on this one is 11.275 megahertz, and the second IF is 455 kilohertz. Well, I left the 455 kilohertz ceramic filter in place. On the first IF, the 11.275, it has two transformers and a little coupling capacitor. And I just pulled out the coupling capacitor, and then I took another junk CB that has the same crystal scheme. This has the 23 megahertz, 14 megahertz crystal scheme, and it has a little 11.275 crystal for transmit. So I pulled that crystal out of the junk radio, and then I inserted it in place of the coupling capacitor between the two IF transformers for 11.275, the exact same frequency. And then you run a wire from the outside case to ground, and that creates basically creates a little crystal filter. And then you retune the cans, and I don't know I don't have the equipment to judge the selectivity, but listening to it compared to other radios, I bet it's between 70 and 80 dB selectivity. There was a definite increase in selectivity. I saw how to do that in Lou Franklin's book, Understanding and Repairing CB Radios from CBC International. He talked about doing it, so I tried it, and it does work.
Roger, yeah, that's 29 there, supposedly with the big transistor. Pretty pleased with yourself on that. It
works real well. That's if you ever seen the Channel Guard CB kit that you can buy off CBC International, it's the same thing, except they don't make one for 11.275. Because only the crystal synthesis radios with the 23 14 megahertz scheme use that IF. The new radios are 10.695 or 10.8 like the Cobra 2000. So yeah, if you look at the IF frequencies on yours, if you've got a little coupling capacitor, you can just replace that, and with a crystal the same frequency. There is a slight dB penalty, you know, for the increased selectivity, but this has an adjustable IF gain on the inside. So all I got to do, all I did was, once I lined it back up, I just when it hit the IF adjustment, brought it back up till I had the same signal, you know, on a previous signal. I had a previous input signal. I'd looked at what it was put on the meter. When I tuned it back up, I could put it to the same level. So, and you can actually cascade those if you want to. If you really want to knock the selectivity up anymore, you can start cascading those crystal filters or even the ceramic filters. That's what Dave cascaded to a 455 kilohertz filters on that Midland 13885 that he's got. I've done that too. If I got you right, you're changing the coupling capacitors on the mic circuit. I've done that, and I'm probably going to do that to this radio. Most of the radios have, the solid states anyway, have the 0.022 microfarad capacitor, ceramic disc capacitor, and I usually change them out to a 0.1. I haven't done that to this radio, but I'm probably going to, for the same reason, to give it a little more bottom end. Okay, sorry, I missed the handle. I heard you say you're on ICOM 7000. You're about S5, S7. I got another signal in there with you, so that's why I didn't catch it all, but you are making it.
Yeah, it's 467 operator Ron, Billy.
Oh, okay, Ron, what's going on up there in Valley Forge?
Give you a shout out, with a few different radios and see what it sounds like.
Okay, when you hear the video, I've got some other stations probably up around New York in there with you, so, you know, don't be surprised when you hear yourself competing with one or two other signals.
Roger. Anyone? Thank you. Exact same board as the 29 Classic, so that's another good rating.
Alright, I heard the first part and then you dropped down. You want to come back again?
Yeah, you gotta put VFOs and all that bullshit in if you want extra channels. Just think about wasting time, Bill. Let's see what it would do when we put it in video game.
You're anywhere from S3 to S7, and I can hear you fine when the other signal's not in there with you.
Yeah, I get the O's. And, don't think. Get that other one at base station at Azazel, so don't go over there. Check that one out. Roger that, roger that. This is Matt. Alright, I'm gonna go and I'll talk to you later. I'll give you a call.
I think the other station's getting ready to back out, so I should be able to hear a little better in a second. He's about plugging my ears.
Boy, you made me within I'll be back around 11:30. Roger that? Yeah, roger that. I'll call you around 12:30. Night Ranger, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. There's another signal in that's real strong, but he's clearing, so I should be able to hear again in a minute. You still hearing me up there in Pennsylvania?
Bob. Yeah, I got a real good copy. I was just wondering, did you clear out with operator Ron for Valley Forge?
I could hear Ron coming and going, but like I said, I've got another station. He's backed out, I think, now. There was another station that was coming over top of him, so I was hearing bits and pieces of him, but I wasn't getting the whole, you know, everything he was saying.
So basically, I've opened up the avenue for not just one stage, but 2 stages or possibly 3 stages. Okay, did they do this?
Oh, okay. Usually, on the ones I've done, I've usually had to do 2 stages. This radio has two coupling capacitors that are restricting. It's the very first mic preamp and the second mic preamp. I think it's just going into both of them. There's, like I said, a .02, I think it is, or 22. And then after that, it's got 1 microfarad capacitor, so I should only have to do the first on this one. The D104, this is the D104. I generally hadn't had to mess with those, but since this is an old D104, I did replace the electrolytic on this one since they can dry out and get tinny.
Tim Roger, now on this one, I don't think I changed any values because the actual value that I was looking for was already there. But in the branding, I did. I changed the values because they were using .001s, I believe it was, and I changed them out to 002s or .02s. Pardon me on the zeros. I can't remember whether it was 2 zeros or 1 zero, but at any rate, I went from 1 to 2. But the trim reason, the engineers had already had the O2s in there, and the results have been satisfactory, so I didn't change any values that I could recall inside of this one.
Well, it sounds real good. I played around with the T-Berry T-Dispatch, a solid-state radio that was very trebly, and I think a lot of those T-Berries are, the solid-state ones anyway. And it had the .022. It had a push-pull circuit that was being shared by both receive and transmit. And it had a .022 on both sides going into the transformer. And I replaced those. First I put a 1 microfarad in there. And I came back on the air with that thing, and one of the guys said, "Are you on your Robin?" He thought I was on that Robin T123B, which was kind of basic. It sounded like a tube radio. But it had so much bass in it on receive that it was rattling the speaker, so I had to back it down to a .1 on that. But he thought I was on a tube radio after I did it.
You may could have put a cap across that speaker, you know, just to kind of cut that down a little bit. You might have been able to keep it in there, but if that thing sounded like a tube radio going out, then you were definitely getting the results that you were looking for. Maybe that speaker needed to be modified.
Yeah, you know, what was funny was that guy was interested in buying that T-Berry, and I had to rebuild the power supply on it. The voltage regulator had gone out, and so anyway, I put it on the air, and he heard how trebly it was, and he said, "Oh no, I don't want that thing." And then I said, "Well, hold on a minute," you know, and I replaced those 2 capacitors. When I told him that wasn't the Robin, man, he was trying to buy it again. He's, "Oh, I want it now."
Yeah, so that's basically the kind of thing I've been playing with, and I've been wanting to tailor this one, but it sounds like it might already be tailored, so it may not be necessary for me to touch it.
Well, some of them don't need it, some of them do. You know, it's always fun to play with it though and see what you can come up with. I like to do that on a lot of the radios. And right now I'm playing with selectivity. Oh, there was one other thing that I'd never even thought about that was in that Lou Franklin Understanding Repairing CB Radios. He also talked about within the IF chain that you could also put a crystal filter in line with you could basically replace the emitter bypass capacitor on one of the amplifiers inside the IF chain. I don't know about the mixer, but if you've got a preamp afterwards, he said that you could also improve selectivity by putting the crystal inside replacing the emitter bypass capacitor on the transistor. I'd never even thought about that.
Tim Roger there. Yeah, I don't understand all of that completely. I would have to be looking at it and probably talking with you directly, you know, in order to understand that. I have to look at the schematic. I did hear another gentleman in there made a comment. I'm going to step aside and let him through just for a moment. Roger, 26 Ball Zero this morning. Ball Zero, New York State. Organized. Take him in, Trevor. Well, I guess not, dear Night Ranger. I thought that I heard another breakdown. Right now they got 1 lane open in here.
Well, he must have been coming in skip, I guess. I didn't hear anything on my end, so I'm assuming you were hearing some skip. I'm in a little town called Moncks Corner. I usually just say Charleston, South Carolina, because most people don't know where Moncks Corner is. But if you look at on a map of South Carolina down towards Charleston, there's two huge lakes. There's Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion. And I'm actually just below Lake... Let me see which one it is. I'm actually just below Lake Moultrie. Yeah, a lot of people do that for some reason. I don't know why. I'll say South Carolina, and half the people in Skip will come back and say North Carolina. But yeah, it's South Carolina, not too far from Charleston, but actually near the Francis Marion National Forest. I'm out here in the boonies. I deliberately bought this house out in the woods so I could put up my antenna for them without the neighbors complaining.
Yeah, man. I know just how you feel about that. Yeah, it's nice to have that freedom of choice there, 10-4.
Well, you know, where I used to live, I didn't hear any complaints about the antenna, but I did have complaints, you know, people claiming I was coming over their computer speaker or whatever. And, you know, you can go over their house and put filters and get it out of some of it, but you can't, sometimes there's some stuff you just can't get it out of. So I wanted to be out here with a bunch of woods around me so that I wouldn't have to listen to that.
So you do have a nice tall tower?
Oh, no, I'm using trees out here. I'm doing a cheap route. I just have a bunch of tall cottonwood trees, and I've been using a wrist rocket slingshot to shoot fishing wire with an oval fishing weight over top of the tree limbs, and then I pull mason twine back through with the fishing line, and then I tie a rope to that and tie that back through it. So far I've just been doing it on the cheap and using all the trees to support the antennas.
Roger. How high are those trees? About South Carolina.
They're probably 80. Well, let's see. My J-pole, vertical J-pole, is at 86 feet at the highest limb, and I bet the tallest tree is probably about 90 feet, the tallest. Let me pick up this break for a second. Who's that calling South Carolina?
You got 151 up there in Pennsylvania. Hey, got a question for you. We're on this channel running sand, and you're killing us up there.
Yeah, you're about S9 down here. You're coming real good.
Yeah, I just wondered, hey, I really hate to ask you this. Would you be able to maybe go up one channel so we can talk?
Well, I'm talking about you guys right there, locally. Are you on this channel, or am I bleeding over on you? What's going on?
Yeah, we're on 13 here. What we're doing, we're trying to, we're hauling sand, and we have to come in on leash herd, so we have to talk to each other to find out if other trucks are coming out. And you're walking on people up here.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm talking to some friends in Pennsylvania. They're around the Philadelphia area. We usually catch up. But anyway, I'll get out of your way. Night train, let me go ahead and get on the side. I'm interfering with some other guys up there in Pennsylvania. They're asking me to move. So we've talked for a minute. I'll go ahead and shut up, and I'll keep the video gate running so you guys can hear yourself. And I'll post it to Grumpy's later. So 73s, I'll get back on the side. Night Ranger, South Carolina.
Appreciate that, buddy. All right, Night Ranger, man, I understand. Incidentally, you were 20 over. I pointed the beam at you. I switched over from the IMAX and pointed at the beam so that, you know, the video gate will see what the difference is. I'm going to say 73s to you. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it a whole lot. Let me know if that beam made a difference down your way also. It is your night train base station in the hills of Pennsylvania. We're back on the side.
Yeah, it made a difference. You hit me at the 30 over that time. 73s.
Yeah, we could have carried this one. You want to go to another channel?
Yeah, he asked if I could move. You want to go to you want to go to 14?
Roger that. 14 it is.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, let me see if it's clear up on this end. Break 14. Yeah, that's clear enough for me, Night Rage. Man, I put the beam on you. You went right up to 20 pounds.
Oh, you hit me at 30, and you'll see it on the video. You actually went past 30 there one time. Those are some other guys. They had some trucks or something they were trying to talk to, and the guy was saying I was creaming them. They couldn't talk to each other, so they asked me to either shut up or move. I mean, they asked nicely, so.
It's a lot quieter. I was thinking, if you had a pencil and paper, man, I'd like to give you my cell phone number for your reference, and we can keep them rascals bedded in case we have conditions. You can give me a call or a text.
All right, I got a I got a pencil in front of me. Go ahead.
Alright, the first personal is Steve. And of course they call me Steve the Night Train, or Stevie Night Train with a K. You got all of that?
Yeah, I got it.
Alright, and the first three numbers is 267.
Got it.
243.
Got it.
5060.
Yeah, got it. Well, it made a big difference when you swung the beam. Didn't you tell me once you had, was it 2 stack 4 elements?
No, that's Skeeter with the stack 4 elements. I run a Joe Gun 4-star series, and right now we are vertical.
Yeah, I'm on, of course, the Lazy H horizontal. I thought about going out there and doing what's called the expanded Lazy H, which instead of half wave elements uses 0.6 wave. It should knock my gain up a little more, but mostly to narrow the pattern. Because, you know, like earlier on 13, there was some guys in New York that were coming in pretty stiff. If I can narrow the pattern, or maybe even, you know, build a Yagi or something, hopefully I can just zero in on Pennsylvania and cut out the other stuff. Most of the time I can hear Pennsylvania fine, but the past week or so, New York's been giving you guys a fit.
Yeah, I've heard the guys shooting up that direction. In fact, we heard from Nova Scotia. I'm going to flip over to the flat side and see if that makes it any better for you. There you are. She's on the flat side now. Then let me know if that makes it any better, since I found out that you were on the flat side.
You might have dropped back a little bit. You might have been a little strong on vertical.
Roger that. Yeah, I thought the vertical was a little bit better. We're back on the vertical. Yeah, that's really nice, man. I had no idea that we talked this long. If it wasn't for those guys, we could have kept it on 13 for the boys. I don't know if Ron came up here or not.
I've sat in there. I've had good conditions before. I think the longest I've talked to him was, it may have been on the 10-meter hand bands. He was like Spitfire and Sandbagger, and there were some others. It seemed like we sat in there one time for 2.5 hours up on 10 meters and talked. And I know on 13 I've sat in there and at least talked to, you know, more than an hour on more than one occasion. But this antenna I'm using, I specifically built it to talk to Sandbagger, and then of course I met the rest of you guys. That was the whole reason for building this antenna.
Tim Roger. Yeah, it's really nice. It works real well. Well, I would like to continue, but you just called me for breakfast, so I'm going to back it down. But what I'd like you to do is dial that number and just leave a message with your first personal and, you know, your handle, and then I can log it in there. 10-4?
Yeah, okay. First personal is Michael. That's no big deal. First personal is Michael. But anyway, yeah, you know, hopefully we'll keep having good conditions. Unfortunately, by February it usually falls out, and then I don't hear Pennsylvania again usually till like April or May. But I've been coming by listening because I know this time of year I usually get to talk to Pennsylvania.
All right, well, Roger, I'm losing you. I'm losing you to some real heavy skip. But it's been definitely a pleasure, and I appreciate the cue. It is your night train base station, right here in the hills of Pennsylvania on the eastern side. And we're going to go 10-7, but we'll leave the lights on for you.
Okay, Night Train, enjoyed it. And I'll flip back over 13. Hopefully we'll catch up again, and tell Sandbagger I made it in here. Actually, I'll probably tell him he'll see the video on Grumpy's. 73's Night Ranger, going back to 13 to listen.
I don't know, we must have locked horns, because you were all up in my strawberry patch here in Tennessee. Come on back and let us know who we got.